at the Mark Goldberg Broadcasting Studios. For those of you who are watching this live, welcome. For those of you who are seeing it uploaded after the fact, thanks for being with me. This is going to be a not so exciting episode. Now, I have invited Clyde, the watch wrangler, to join me at some point here. Excuse me. I'm pretty sure that we will see him before very long. And in the meantime, I'm going to introduce the topic that we're going to be talking about today. And I will, little by little, begin to talk to those of you who are in the comments section. We've got Casey White. Glad to have you with us. Random Rob, I'm so glad that you are here with us. The rancher joining us now. Random Rob, let me know in the comments if you'd like me to send you a link. Because I know the last time you joined a live stream that I recommended, it didn't turn out so good. And it was the Archie stream, the Beg stream. It was awful, wasn't it, Clyde?
Horrible. Good Lord.
But I'd like to have you here, Rob. So I don't know. Rob, text me and I'll send you the link. Because this, I swear to God, this will be a whole lot better. Certainly much more respectful. Well,
also less begging.
Less begging? Yeah, no, there will be no begging except for when Clyde tries to get my goat by telling you to send money. Let me stipulate at the very beginning of this live stream, super chats, I can't stop you, but I won't encourage you, and we will answer every question because I do a lot of shit for free. How about you, Clyde?
On YouTube, yes.
Yes. Yeah. Well, no, not. You know, if you're defending, see, Clyde's a lawyer in the great, wonderful flyover state of Oklahoma. So if you have committed, white collar crime, if you're a wife beater, well, you're going to have to pay, right, Clyde?
Exactly.
Well, it was a day off of court from you today. What'd you do with yourself?
Oh, just some work around the house, some laundry, that sort of thing, some dishes.
You know what? I've got a sink. I got a sink full of dishes myself. Now, just talking about the domestic side of things, I have had like a housekeeper for about the last 20 years, and she decided to go out of the business. I'm a little angry with her. This is a woman who, when she hit hard times, she and her husband moved into my house. Because this is how I went to her daughter's quinceañera. I'm still very, very tight with her. And, onward and upward, she's doing bigger and better things. They opened a restaurant, so she didn't have time to clean houses. But I'm a little betwixt and between. I am now learning how she earned her money, Clyde. I'm vacuuming and mopping. I don't love it.
Get a Roomba.
I'm a little afraid of a Roomba. For those of you who don't know, guys, Roomba is an automated vacuum cleaner. But the problem is that I've got dogs, right? So if there's a doggy accident, like let's say a dog accidentally has diarrhea on the hardwood floor, isn't the Roomba just going to spread it all over the house?
Well, yeah. I mean, a Roomba can't do everything, but yeah. I mean, at least sweeping and vacuuming is pretty much what they do. Well, fecal removal requires a more human touch.
Yes, and I have a dedicated mop and bucket system for that, guys. Yes, I'm a dog trainer, so in theory, I should have well-behaved dogs. But in this house, I have 3 dogs, and 2 of them are 15 years old. So they're a little bit like me. They don't always know when it's about to happen. Come suddenly.
Which it kind of explains actually Mark's online life and his offline life. In real life, teaching elderly dumb animals not to shit on the floor, easy.
Are you talking about the Archie Beg stream now?
No. Teaching, no, not yet. However, teaching Minotaurs to read super chats, hard.
Yeah, difficult. Yankee Doodle is with us. Valen Greymoon is with us. Justin Bailey, DIUA, a bunch of guys. Thank you, Eric. Yankee Doodle, Dan Radke, bunches of you guys are here. I appreciate your presence. So Yankee Doodle says, send Archie a link to this super chat and let's see his response. I'm sure he is very busy right now with a pair of high-heeled Louis Vuittons. So if you've got questions, throw them into the comment section. But Clyde, what I want to talk about a little bit tonight, just so we get to some horological watch talk, is I want to talk about cheap, vinyl, nasty watches that don't meet the horological standard of luxury watches like the one that I'm wearing right now. Should we do a quick fist watch check?
Go ahead.
I'm afraid I'm going to take a little bit of heat for this one on the YouTube universe. Here it goes. You know what that is, Clyde? It's a little loose and sloppy.
Zelos.
That is yeah, very good. Well done. You know my collection. This is a Zelos swordfish sandwich dial. The lume is unbelievable. Maybe later, a little bit later in this broadcast, I will go get the UV flashlight, dim the studio lights, and show you what this thing looks like in the dark, because it's utterly amazing. And this is about a $350 watch with an NH35 Seiko movement in it. Cheap, vinyl, nasty, 187 grams. And yet, I mean, it's no Kermit. It's no Daytona. It's not even a Submariner. Not even close. But it still gives me pleasure, Clyde. What's wrong with that?
Well, actually, I kind of think you're doing this whole thing so people don't hate you too much for getting all those primo choice Rolexes from your relationship, your close relationship with your AD.
Well, that's another entire topic that we can talk about, which is the shitter to good watch ratio. Is there a golden ratio? And that's something that we should talk about. Casey White comes up with the first horologically valid question, but I'm going to throw this one to Clyde. He says, guys, what's your take on, it just disappeared.
What's your take on Tissot as my first entry-level Swiss watch? Thanks.
Yes, thanks, Clyde. What do you think?
I think it's a perfectly good watch. I have a vintage Tissot in my collection right now, anyway. But Tissot is a slightly lower tier to Omega. It's owned by the Swatch Group. It's a Swiss watch. It's a good, honest Swiss watch.
Here's the thinking. Here's my thinking. Is Tissot a good entry-level Swiss watch for Swiss watches? Clyde, are you adjusting your fly? Are you taking a leak? Have you begun to pound shots? Oh, he's back. Thanks, Clyde. I like on this channel. I like seeing your face. I think Tissot is a fine entry-level Swiss watch, but you're going to spend $1,200 anyway on a Tissot, and you can find a watch for $300-400 that'll make you happy too.
Well, and it also depends on what you count as a beater watch, though, as well.
Well, that's a whole different question. Beater, like, is Tissot a beater just because it's entry level? I would call this a beater because, for me, a $350 watch ranks at the very bottom tier of my collection. But there are people who have to. I bought this off of a college student, and this for him was a really expensive watch, and he was very relieved to get his money out of it. So it was no beater to him. It was his entry into horology.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a perfectly good watch, but preferably try to get it used if you can.
Clyde, can you identify this cocktail? No,
there's an orange.
Say again.
Tom Collins?
No, I don't even know what's in a Tom Collins. This is it's an old fashioned.
Wait, is it a Joan Collins?
No, not even. If it was a Joan Collins, there would be a second all floating in there. I've gotten a little bit into reasonably decent bourbons, and this is an old fashioned. Super easy drink to make an old fashioned. You throw an orange peel in there, some bourbon, a maraschino cherry, preferably the dark kind, and a little bit of simple syrup, which is nothing more than sugar water. If you have a round ice cube, so much the better. Super simple little cocktail. Very nice. I call this the problem solver because it was a bit of a day today. Editing the new book. Mark, have you got a Daytona yet? Clyde, that's your MR2, isn't it?
Yes. Now, actually, you posted a shift knob.
Now, Clyde's talking about the Secret Cardinals WhatsApp group, and he's referring to a very naughty photograph. I think it's kind of an inside joke, Clyde, but go ahead, see if you can delicately explain this and why you're raising that point right now.
Well, because
you want one of those for your MR2? Is that it?
Well, No, actually, it's just a thought exercise because Mark posted something that looked like
A butt plug.
a butt plug. Yeah, that's totally what it is. And they said you can install it in your. Someone said, "Well, you can install it in your Prius," and someone said you can install it in your MR2.
It was a bedazzled butt plug. I posted it because I thought that I thought Jen might have one already. Like
well, and I was thinking if I no, keep in mind I've got a yellow MR2 and I call it Vingtinier.
Okay, I think before this goes any further into the fact that it's yellow and you like being inside it, we're going to move along. MR2, I do not have a Daytona yet. However,
because Vingtinier could be inside of Vingtinier, while at the same time Vingtinier could be inside of Vingtinier.
This is like
that level of incursions could tear a hole in the space-time continuum.
Have you ever been inside the fun house where the Hall of Mirrors, where it's just 1,000 U's?
We're talking about Archie Luxury, right?
Yes, that's about where we are. Well, you know, Clyde, they say if you met yourself, you probably wouldn't like yourself.
Probably not.
And so I think that's you and Archie. Got a little bit in common there. Okay, so the question is, gosh, I've lost my place in these comments. Hang on a quick second. I'll be back. The question was, do I have a Daytona yet? And the answer is I do not, but I'm working on it. I don't know when that's going to come along. But I think it's going to take me a good year. I think it's going to take me a good year to get there. Okay. Watch, guys. Yes.
It's going to require you to get a tire? To give a tire? What?
No, I just think I'm going to have to get on a wait list and wait. You know, okay, here's the thing about the Daytona. As Clyde well knows and never tires of reminding me, well, I had a Daytona. I don't remember what year it was. Like
pre-ceramic.
I think it was like a 98. It was a pre-ceramic, and it bugged me because I bought it. At that time, I was a young collector. I was not very knowledgeable, and I bought it merely because I thought I should. And I bought it just to impress my hobros. But I discovered that my tired old eyes couldn't tell what the hell time it was. It was a white face, and I couldn't tell what time it was, and that just bugged me. So I sold it at a loss. And ever since I sold it, the price of that watch has just gone up and up and up and up. And now that watch sells for roughly double what I sold it for. The only consolation I have about that sale, Clyde, by the way, is I put the funds right away into a James Cameron, which I still have.
And which you love.
Which I like much better. True.
Okay. And Mark. Okay. Are you a watch dealer?
Yeah.
Are you a watch dealer?
No, I don't have to make. I don't have to make money on watches. I don't. I just try not to lose too much.
Well, on the other hand, you got to have a watch that you don't love, and you took it and put the funds into a watch that you do love.
True.
Now, if we take Rolex and Daytona out of the equation, by any other metric, that'd be a win, wouldn't it? So
basically what you're doing is being nice to me after you've torn me down for like 3 solid years for that transaction. Now you're instead of playing prosecutor.
I have not.
Is that right?
I actually, you actually gained my respect for that one.
Well, I know, but I lost it when I put myself back on the waiting list for the ceramic.
Yeah.
Who are we kidding? But you know, guys, the nature of my relationship with the rancher is it's a ball bustathon, between the two of us. Clyde, don't make me pull out the fact that you're on the waiting list for a Batman and you already had a Batman if you wouldn't have snatched your money off the counter when they de-stickered it.
Here's the thing though, frankly.
Frank and honest.
Yeah. I gotta be honest with you. It's hard. It's fuck this. It's
frank and honest.
It's hard.
It's all
it's hard.
Fuck this. The black dog of depression.
Okay. I actually Judge I'll just call him Judge Crater, a retired municipal judge, showed me his Batgirl.
Did he now?
Well, yeah. And I was looking at it and I'm like, it's nice. It's nice. I'm not gonna take a crap on a Batgirl unless, of course, I'm a supervillain. But I mean, I was looking at it.
Did it tickle your pickle, Clyde? Did it tickle your pickle?
It did not tickle my pickle.
Well, then why are you on the waiting list?
I'm thinking actually about taking my name off the waiting list.
Well, instead of that, why don't you ask them to transfer you to a Pepsi?
Well, I can do that anytime. Yeah.
I mean, no, that's also very, very difficult to get watch. So I think what you want to avoid is waiting till that Batgirl comes in and then telling them no. Why don't you tell them now, sooner rather than later? Otherwise, you're going to look ungrateful. They're going to think this guy snatches his money off. Well, of course, it's a different AD, but different branch of them.
No. It's a different. It's the exact same one.
Well, then you need to talk to these people as soon as humanly possible.
It's a different watch manager, though.
Here's what you say. I've been thinking about this.
No, it's just like I saw one. It's a nice watch, but I don't want to. I don't want to put 10 grand into something I just don't love.
Okay, well, that's why you should be getting a Pepsi or something else. Figure it out and talk to them before that comes in. Anyway, Gilbert Rios, hello. We've got Damasheen in the house with a good evening, fuckers. Damasheen is a man whose collection, Clyde, equals mine plus yours squared. Guy has got not only everything, but duplicates of everything. Talk about having a good relationship with an AD. Damasheen, you're a whale. Casey White, thanks, guys. Well, that was thanks for the hello there. Ramon says, thanks for all your advice about how to become an AD client. I'm picking up my Submariner tomorrow from James and Sons.
Molex.
Oh, gosh. Well, give me a minute and we'll get there. Let me just finish this one. Ramon, are you Rocco? Are you the same guy that wrote to me as Rocco? See, what here, Clyde, I want to tell you a quick story. James and Sons is the AD that I have a good relationship with in the Chicago area. They've got 3 locations, right? And a fellow emailed me and said, hey, could you please introduce me to these guys? Because nobody will take my request seriously for a Submariner as my first Rolex. And I want to buy it new, have my name on the card, etc. And I'm not a flipper. So I introduced that fellow, which I think is the same guy, introduced that fellow over to Brian, the sales manager at James and Sons. And the next thing I know, maybe 3 days later, Brian hooked him up with a Submariner. So Brian told me when I tell this story to let you guys know he's happy to talk to all of you. Mention my name. He'll be courteous. He'll take you seriously, but neither he nor I can promise what will be in stock at any given time. Okay. So guys, don't call up there looking for that blue Sky Dweller and think you're going to get it right instantaneously, because you might not. Okay. Britt Head, $5. Mark and Clyde, what do you guys think about the Grand Seiko Quartz SBGV 207? Which one is that, Clyde? Look it up, because I
already have.
What is it?
Well, basically, it's obviously it's quartz. It's a Grand Seiko 3-hander with a date, black dial.
How much is it, Clydesy?
Looks like $3,100.
That's not a bad price, is it?
Now actually,
as a dial.
Yeah, nice looking dial. Any Grand Seiko really has at least a passable dial, if not a good dial. Now, Brent, I actually think Han Danes might have that exact same watch. And
that's a pretty one. He has a snowflake dial, doesn't he?
No, he has a Seiko as well. I mean, he has a quartz one as well. So, Brent, you might want to contact Han Danes.
He was wanting to sell that watch.
Exactly. That's my point.
Yeah. Listen, here's the thing with Grand Seiko. People go on and on about the finishing, and indeed, it's very nice. I'm a little more tolerant of quartz watches than I used to be. There's something in fact, I think everybody should have a quartz watch in the collection, so you have a grab and go watch that's always ready to go into rotation and ready to wear. I mean, the only thing you have to do to a quartz watch now and again is, if it has a date, is just, catch the date up to snuff, because it may get confused between the 30 and 31, and 28 in February. Anyway, everybody ought to have one. And if you're going to have one, Grand Seiko is a fine one to have. The thing is, they do lose value when you buy them new. So you want to get that used. That'd be the only bit of advice I have you. However, and I wouldn't own 5 Grand Seiko, but I think every collector ought to have one, quite frankly, and every collector ought to have a quartz. So why not one of those? Mine is a spring drive, which is kind of an interesting movement.
Well, it's a combination mechanical drive with quartz.
Yes, I see. Well, I'm going back up to try and not miss too many of these comments here. Give me a quick second. I'm getting there. Almost there. Okay, so we were on Ramon. Anyway, just to wrap that up, I received no remuneration from James and Sons. I just have a decent relationship, and the reason that I have a good relationship with those guys is they took me seriously from the first time I talked to them. And, you know, guys, I don't really want to name names of experiences that I've had that have been bad, but I walk into a lot of authorized dealers and including ones from whom I have purchased before, and I am not always taken seriously or even courteously, and that's disturbing. So I understand they may not want to put me on the list. They might not have stock, but gee, you could at least take me seriously. Christian M says, how do I get my puppy to lift his leg when he pisses? Monkey see, monkey do. What do you think, Clyde? Should he show him?
Sure, I guess. Hopefully you don't live in a condo.
Christian, your puppy has performance anxiety. Performance anxiety. I think you should just leave him alone and he'll come around. Everything will be fine. Clyde, is Movado a beater watch? You know, they have the Movado. Don't they have a really cool kind of world timer? They
do. And also, you know, vintage Movado is, I think, is one of the remaining bargains on the vintage scene. A lot of, like Movado from like the 50s and 60s, before Patek Philippe started going entirely in-house and going way up brand, a lot of times Movados have the same cases and the same dials as Patek Philippe's from the same period.
Clyde, do you have this problem when you're drinking a cup of coffee, tea, or a soda? I find that my pinky tends to want to come off the glass, and I don't know how gay that is. By the way, you're talking to a proud gay out gentleman here, so you know, no homophobia here, folks. I'm a member of the tribe, but I never know whether I'm drinking on camera if it's pinky off or pinky on. I'm just going to go with my natural.
Exactly.
No opinion, Clyde? You're not sure?
No, I mean, I think it's like an Emily Post thing. It's supposedly, it shows like you've got
class,
culture, and sophistication and shit like that.
Yeah. Well, you know, I know, Clyde, you don't drink anymore, but back when you did, I bet champagne was the drink of choice.
Oh, now George Jesse is asking a good question.
Is he? Wait, where is it? All right. Well, you read it. I can't find it. We're gonna deal with Danger Will Robinson, but you go ahead with George.
Clive and Mark still have the Q Timex?
Oh, I do. Do you wear your? Oh, look, you're at the ready. I took mine off that hair pincher. I put it on a.
You're more of a hair. I think you're more of a hair puller.
Well, I have.
Now, here's the amazing thing. I look at it. This is what, you know.
Show us your wrist, Clyde. Come on, let me see your wrist. I'm relatively hairless. You have a manly man wrist right there.
Right.
Give me a close up. Like, look at my hair pattern. Like, you look like you've grown your winter coat, and I look like a spring chicken. You ever think about waxing, trimming?
No, not ever. Not once. Not.
Does the carpet match the curtains? All right. Well, anyway.
Here's actually the nice thing. When you with a quartz watch, I pull it out and look at it. I said, "God damn it, the time is still dead on."
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah,
ridiculously accurate. Mine is fast, but maybe a tenth of a second a day. They don't claim it to be as accurate as it actually is. Stupidly accurate. Danger Will Robinson, gents, thoughts on a Zenith Pilot Type 20 chronograph extra special as a starter chrono? Well, we were actually talking about this on the Minotaur's channel last night. Any Zenith you get, you have to be very, very sure that you buy it used and at the bottom of the market, because if you don't get 50% off list, you are going to be married. I call it the burial watch. You'll have to be buried in the damn thing.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I think the Pilot watch. I think the Pilot watch to me should be a three-hander. I think if you're going to go Zenith and go chronograph, why not go El Primero?
Go the 1969. Clyde, you bring up a wonderful point. When you are getting into a brand, try and stick with what is more or less representative or symbolic or iconic of that brand. If you start getting into the weird outlier of that brand, you're going to be stuck with it because no one's looking for that. And, you know, in Tudor, the Black Bay, it's easy to resell if you want to get rid of it. If you've got a Tudor Advisor, especially the new one, the Heritage Advisor, good luck. You're going to get buried in it. Justin Bailey says, Tissot, Certina, Baum, and Mercier are second-level shitters. You know, that's Minotaur talk. The reality of it is every brand has its charm. I really don't love myself. I'm not crazy about that awkward level of horology in the $1 to to $3,000 range. Because $1,000 is a whole bunch of money. And if I'm going to get $1,000, $2,000 watch, like the ones you just mentioned, it's not that I consider them shitters. It's just that it's not like unbelievably impressive where people are going to look at those and go, wow, look what you've got. So I'd rather spend $200, $300, $400. I'll tell you about what Clyde, I have a watch coming in, and I will reveal that information a little bit later in this broadcast, but I'm going to take a lot of shit for it on YouTube when it comes.
Exactly. No. And of course, I'm wearing the sterile dial.
Now, is Wilson, that the Flieger, the fake Flieger? What is that?
Yeah, the Wilson watch's Flieger. Brush dial. 42 millimeters.
Put that close to the camera, Clyde. Let us have a good look at that. See, this is my personal opinion. If you're going to go for a pilot's watch and you're not going for IWC, don't go for Zenith. Go for something like that. Clyde, what's something like that cost?
Depends how you well, the thing is also, unlike yours, which has the Japanese, this has a well, I tell you what, this camera is a hell of a lot better about autofocusing, or at least it normally is.
Back it up a little. Just back it near you. That's it. There you go.
There we go. 6498-1. Like 2.5 hertz. Nice little diamond crown on it. Insanely easy to wind. Super, super accurate. This thing is, I literally, this is, how Rolex is plus or two minutes a day.
Yeah.
So is this.
See, here's my thinking. I would rather have that watch for $600 than to go spend $6,000 on a Zenith Pilot chronograph
or an IWC Big Pilot.
Well, if that's a different matter, because the IWC Big Pilot at least going to hold its value. So if you change your mind about that watch in 5 years, you'll get your money out of there. And that's a lot of what we're talking about, value retention.
Value retention, okay, but on something like this, if I get tired of this, and I take it out, when I'm done with it, I take it outside and smash it with a hammer.
What are you losing?
I'm still probably likely to be less money than buying a brand new IWC.
Well, that's absolutely true. Value retention really becomes a giant issue when you're talking about thousands upon thousands of dollars, right? So if you're spending $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on a watch, I don't have the kind of money where I can say screw the loss. If I bought this for $350, if I end up having to sell it for $300 and pay $30 in eBay commissions, so I sell it for a net loss of $70, who cares? I enjoyed it for the time that I had it. But if I'm spending 10 grand on a Rolex, I really want to be able to get my 10 grand out if the roof blows off this house and I got to fix it. So Tommy D, regarding your older vid on the Blue Pelagos, would you say that's the nearest equivalent to a Batman? No, the Blue Pelagos and the Batman they look nothing alike whatsoever. So I would say no. The Pelagos might be a sub killer, but it's got nothing to do with the Batman, which is a GMT. The Pele is a dive watch, guys.
Yeah, and actually, normally I'm not the biggest fan of snowflake hands. It makes sense on the Pelagos, and I don't know
why you hate that, don't you? The burning passion.
Exactly. But on the other hand, now a little about the Pelagos, but the gray dial left-hand drive one, I like that one. I've seen that one in the flesh, and it's just like, God, I don't want to like you, but I do.
UE says, I have a Q. Guys, why is the Steinhardt homage okay, but not the Squally? It's not. They're both crappy. Listen. This is a very inexpensive watch. This thing costs less than the average Steinhardt, and I like it, but I don't love a Steinhardt. Why? Because this has unique design cues. Somebody actually designed this watch where Steinhardt says, I know. Gunter Steinhardt says, I know. I'll just copy a pre-ceramic sub and expand it by 2 millimeters. I don't think there's much creativity in that. Excuse me for the belching. I'm becoming mildly inebriated. Yankee Doodle, I recently had a consultation with an attorney who specializes in wills and estates. He was wearing an oversized gold-plated ESQ. Wasn't sure what to think. Well, first of all, Clyde, do you even know what that is? What is that?
Esquire.
Never heard of that brand, but
I've never heard of the brand. But actually, for an attorney, that does kind of make sense because it's making a joke. Attorneys go by Esquire, use the title Esquire to designate that they're attorneys, and it's really a great, slightly long historical story behind the use of the term Esquire. So an attorney wearing an Esquire watch, well, that's like Jacques Cousteau wearing a Submariner. Kind of, I don't think I'd do it myself, but I could see how someone else would.
Yeah, but it was gold plated. I think anybody who wears gold plate should be on the lowest rung at Honest Bob's used car lot. I would really rather wear steel than anything plated. As much as Archie says that the Tudor two-tone stuff is gold plated, it's not. It's rolled gold, a thick layer of gold, but yeah, it's rolled over stainless steel.
Gold cased.
So, yeah, I don't like it. Okay. I would really rather have solid gold or solid stainless steel. I don't like what Tudor has done, but it's not quite fair to call it plate, but it is cheating to shortchange the gold and make a more, give you some real gold, but for a bit of a bargain price. So what do you think of it? I'm not in favor.
No, but that said, I actually need to go to the the Rolex 80 close to me. Also does Tudor. One of my local hobros, actually the guy that has the Pelagos, the Hebrew hobro, or the Hebrew. Would it be a Hebrew?
The Hebrew. Has he reached the age of majority yet?
Yes.
That's a lie. He has not. He's like 14 now.
No. Local.
Okay.
Here, local. Yeah.
I didn't know you had Jews in Oklahoma, Clyde. I thought you put us all on reservations.
We're up to
6, 7. No minion there.
I was going to say, yeah.
No minion there whatsoever. Demachine is showing up for a minion. Oh, hi, Mark. Where's the nude pic backdrop? Well, the problem, John Sellers, is that Clyde has not sent me the photograph, so not sure. Random Rob, are you still with us? Send me a text, man, and I'll send you a link if you care to join us. But I'm glad you're here one way or the other. And I felt bad about that Archie stream I invited you into because it got stupid.
What, an Archie stream got stupid? When does that start?
Imagine that. Yankee Doodle, I love the Rolex Submariner I purchased in 2005. If I was starting out now, I would not tolerate this shit Rolex is putting its customers through, like they're doing us a favor and selling us a watch. Fuck me dead. Well,
I totally agree with that. Truthfully. I don't really like my EDs, but even I feel like Wilson from Home Improvement.
But see, here's the thing. It's not the AD. The AD sells what they are given. It's not the AD. It's the majority of the problem is Rolex Geneva. It's the corporation, the foundation that is Rolex. It's the manufacturer. All the AD is a distributor with a Rolex distribution contract. That's all they are. And they are not able to order whatever they want. They take what they're given. So I don't think the problem really originates in the AD for the most part. Short supply, increased demand. While Rolex is busy clamping down on supply, they're also busy spending $100 million a year on advertising to create demand. That's $1 billion every decade to create demand. So, of course, there's demand. They pay for it. They get it. They're smart, though. George says there's a bunch of crybabies on the other channels. Well, that may be. I don't really know.
Who cares? We're not here to discuss other channels.
Yeah, I don't know what.
We're here to rip on Archie.
I don't know what other channels he means. Almost doesn't matter. Yankee Doodle. I would not buy any quartz watch for over $300 under any circumstances. There's plenty to choose from in the $300 range and under, though. Plenty.
Yep.
You know the
get on that. Yeah, the Timex. Like I said, just get on. Here's the thing: Timex, they have a really hot watch right now, and they're not being cunty about it. They're actually not being cunty. You can sign up for an email, and when they get some more in, they'll send you an email saying, "Hey, we've got some more in. We'll sell them for the same price we've sold them to everybody else for." You get the email, you log on their website, and you buy the watch.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am communicating at the moment with a Rob from Random Rob channel, And hopefully he'll be joining us in a few moments. So if you've got questions for Random Rob, please prepare them at once. Yui says, I've got one of those fandangled quartz GS GMTs, and I love it when I'm not keeping my 16570 alive. I probably, I admire the 16570 from the standpoint of its historical contribution to horology, but I just utterly hate the hollow center links and the crappy clasp on that older style pre-ceramic Rolex GMT. I'm not in favor, but well, we know Dr. Bruce loves them. How do you feel about those older GMTs, Clyde?
I think they're great watches.
Yeah, you would. You like the old stuff.
Speaking of which,
there it is. There it is. You turned down a wonderfully good offer for that watch, didn't you? Decide to keep it?
I did.
Archie wants you to sell it to Dr. Bruce.
He's probably wanting a commission. But on the other hand, oh my God! I mean, look at the.
You could, give him a you could just give Archie a bale of hay.
Or a ladyboy.
But and a ladyboy with HIV. Okay, well, guys, that was based on our the 12 days of Christmas for the Archie channel.
Fistmas.
Yeah, I know. Why do I never remember that, Clyde? So Eric wants to know how good are ball watches. I'm down to one ball. I've been through a few balls. Well, in my life, a lot more than that. But let's just say, Clyde, I'm down to one ball watch now, and I think I probably should sell it. High quality watches, great tritium lume. Most of them are a little heavy. But it's a brand,
great history, actually an American history.
It's a brand I like so much. Random Rob, welcome to the program. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Thanks for being with us, man. Rob, I want to apologize for having brought you onto the Archie stream. I did it with good intent. You know, it was about a month or two ago, and then you came on like a nice guy.
No, he didn't. He totally didn't. Because here's how Mark gets on there, and he basically has this attitude, fuck it, I'm suffering. You need to suffer too.
Well, I need help, Clyde. I can't do it all by myself. But, Rob, I didn't feel it worked out well. I'm glad to have you here now. Thanks for joining us.
At least I had a drink then.
Well, I'm having a drink right now. Rob, I want to first tell you that when I tune into your channel, I do so regularly. First of all, guys, if you don't know Random Rob, you're crazy. You should know this man. You should know his voice above all. But Rob, you review a lot of watches in the $500, $600 and under range. Is that fair?
Yes. The majority of them, yes, are.
Yeah, I bought this because of you. Half of the watches that I buy in that price range are your fault. This is a
Molex,
by the way.
Molex.
Oh God.
Molex.
I told you guys not to do this. $2 from Mike Epp. Thoughts on the Mula Glashuta brand as a starter? Well, the Gin Tinkler loves that thing.
Well, I think you might be thinking of Glashuta original, aren't you?
Oh, all right. What's the Mula?
Mula is like another step down the food chain, the Glashuta food chain. More ETA based, more simple watches, less expensive. But yeah, decent watch.
Rob, what do you think of ball watches?
Very nice, but I don't want to own one.
Why not?
Molex.
All right, we'll get there, Clyde. We'll get there.
Yeah,
this one's a quick one.
I don't know. For some reason, I never connect with them. I think they're very nice. I think they're very good price for what you get, but I don't see myself owning one.
Now, I have a Seiko. Sorry, go ahead. Finish that.
No, go ahead.
Well, I have a Seiko Monster. You know, completely your fault. It's the orange dial, but with a black bezel.
Yeah.
And that was one of the few that you could still get Generation 2 for a reasonable price. Those have crazy good lume. So I know you're a lume monster. You really love the lume. You always show lume. Why is it that the ball doesn't call your attention? Because that's got that 24-hour tritium in it.
Well, quite frankly, I think I'm broken or something because I've been venturing into even cheaper. And now I'm even going with stuff that's just weird, like that people aren't looking at.
What are you wearing right now?
This is a Casio World Timer, AE.
Oh, I like
1200 or something.
Like $25, right? Let's see. Show it up close.
So I did the color mod. I have a few of these. I try to orientate myself.
I know it's hard to find. $25. That's a great one. I have one. I love it.
And then I added the yellow and the green and the purple on there.
Nice. Isn't that like a $25 watch? The base watch?
Yeah, basically, I think even the black plastic one is even less, which I prefer that one.
Yeah, that is an unbelievable value for the money. I convinced Archie to buy one of those. All right, Clyde, I'm going to go down and get that.
Super chat. This is super chat. We can take care of it real quick.
Rolex. PG. Well, $20. Who are you, PG? PG, who are you? That's a lot of money. Rolex. Clyde, you do it. You do this better than me.
Well, actually, I like to say Molex.
Well, you go ahead.
Molex.
And I'll do it in Clyde's Rolex. $2. We did this. Mike, Clyde doesn't love it. Okay.
I think it's all right. I think it's competent. But the thing is, I don't. If you like it, do some research, figure out the resale, figure out the brand, figure out the low and the high, and get it for a good price.
What you got there?
Orange Monster.
Look, that's the month. That's the one I have. Hold it up.
This is a 309.
No. Yeah,
this is a new old stock. This has never been worn.
Really? So that's now like $750, $800, right?
No, they're kind of going weird again. I think you can pick them up for about $450.
Oh, they're coming back down a little.
Yeah,
because what was the high on that watch?
They were approaching 1,000.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
because
crazy.
What was list on it? Like $300?
When I was buying these, there was no such thing as like no one even looked at the list. I think my actual one that I have, I think I paid like $170 for it.
Rob, you used to drive me crazy. You'd hold that iPad up to the camera, flip through all these monsters, and I'd be like, shit. And every single one of your videos that I watched, I ended up buying a watch. Yeah. I kind of still do that. So I'm careful with your channel now. I have to be careful. Otherwise, I'll wind up with a box full of watches that I don't fully wear.
Well, that's the beauty with shitters that you guys are calling them. Whether it's $20 or $500, you can own like 100 of them. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
I know that's a problem where people are like, well, you could have bought this. Yeah, but I didn't. I bought these.
What do you mean you could own 100 of them?
Yeah, you do. It's true. You own a Ouija board, a Scrabble game, and 100. And at least 100. You probably how many of the square G-Shocks do you have?
I don't know.
Just those alone. Doc BBW trying to get in on the action. Let's add him in there. Doc. We're gonna have to mute him. Doc. Close the door, Doc. How are you?
I'm okay. You're gonna have to mute me, so
no, you're okay now. Yeah, now we hear you. All we heard there for a minute was you backing up. Beep, beep, which is what you actually I used to have a boyfriend who made that sound every time the date was over. Okay, so moving right along, Doc, we're glad to have you. We're glad to have you with us. I'm just finishing up a question for Random Rob. Well, not a question, a comment. You know what? I don't love that term shitter anymore, and I don't use it. I have a whole bunch of I have a Phoibos coming in. Rob, what do you think? I have a new Phoibos coming.
Phoibos. Why? What is that?
Come on, you've reviewed them. The Phoibos. What did you've reviewed at least?
No, I
How do you
never
say
really
it?
got into that brand.
No.
Phoibos.
I bought one and sold it, but now I got another one coming in with a mother of pearl dial.
Wait, did you have Phobos FOMO?
Not really. Larry Luxury used to criticize me for buying one, but I think they're kind of fun watches, and I have another one coming in, so I'll review it when it comes in. $279 with a mother of pearl dial, natural mother of pearl. I think that's kind of a cool concept.
Molex.
Oh dear.
Molex.
What am I going to do with all this money? John Sellers, $10. Here you go, fellas. Next time I expect nudes. What's nudes?
Nudes. Yeah. Okay.
Clyde, would you just lift up your shirt a little for us?
Absolutely not. No.
Doc, I have a question for you.
Okay. Do you want me to take my shirt off?
Yes, please.
Okay. Fine.
He's going to kill the camera. There we go.
Okay. There we go.
Clyde, bang it into the microphone just so we can hear it a little bit. All right, very good. Well, there you go, John. I think you got your $10 worth. Oh, Bongo. Bongo knows. If you know, you know, and Bongo knows. Excuse me. It's an abalone dial. Yeah. The interior of the shell of the abalone, I think that's how you pronounce that, is made of mother of pearl with a lot of, here, I'll show you a picture of this thing. See what you guys think. I mean, it might look a little gay. I'm not going to lie, because it's multicolored and it's got a lot of, oh gosh, where'd it go? Hang on. I'm sure I have this thing. Where did it go? Ah, here we go. It's got a lot of color to it, so it's a little bit festive.
It's not a bad dial.
But I mean, that's all natural mother of pearl. I don't know why it's having a hard time showing up there.
Wow, that's busy.
Well, yeah, because it's all those iridescent colors. What they did in that watch was they sort of mocked the ceramic dial of the Breitling Heritage diver, whatever the heck that model is called again. And their other dials are wave cut, kind of mocking or homaging the Omega Seaman Master. But this is doesn't have wave cuts. What it has there is the mother of pearl dial. So we'll see. $275, Rob. You'd be proud of me. Under $300. So if I don't like it, I should be able to get out of it.
No,
I do worry about that brand dropping way more than the Zelos. The Zelos actually will kind of hold its value a little bit
Seems
better,
to
I think.
be, yeah. Do you think that's a matter of supply? Like Zelos doesn't make as many watches and Phoibos is just cranking them out? Or why do you think that?
I think they're both similar quality. Zelos is probably a little bit better, but there's a much stronger, I don't want to say cult, but following for what Zelos and the owner and the brand is doing.
Yeah. What's that guy's name? The guy who owns Zelos?
I forget. I butchered anyway. Eshan or something.
Eshan, that's right. Yeah. He's in Singapore. Do I have that right?
Yeah, I think so.
And he carefully curates that brand. And you're right. There's a bit of a cult following for this brand. So I don't think you're wrong about that. I think it's easier to lose money on a Zelos, or excuse me, easier to lose money on a Phoibos than a Zelos. On the one hand, on the other hand, how much can you lose? This is a $275 watch.
Right. And yeah, like Clyde said, it's you wear it, enjoy it, and then throw it in a drawer or whatever. Who cares? Like you're not, what are you really out? I've bought and sold more expensive watches and lost way more money on those than I ever would on all these little watches.
Same here, amigo. I mean, like, listen, here's the thing. I'm very fortunate and just financially, I feel like I'm in a lucky position financially so that I can buy a Rolex now and again. But when I do that, I have to really, really think through, what am I buying? What am I paying? And
Rolex.
If things go to hell, can I get out? Whereas if I'm going to buy a G-Shock or a Zelos or another Microbrand, I can just go, let me try this. Boom, hit the buy button on Amazon or on eBay, and then just jump out of it if I have to, and know that even if I lose money, it's not going to be that much. So.
Okay. Well, let me see. You've got a 10460 pre-M. You've got a
10460M.
Oh, okay, I have the pre-M. You've got a 113 two-tone.
11613.
11613. You've got the.
I don't know the reference numbers for the other ones. I know the models, though.
Well, yeah. You've also got a ceramic sub-date. You've got a Hulk date.
I have 4 Submariners, guys. It's too many. If anybody wants to buy a full set, 11613. Did I get that right? 16. Shit. Clyde, what's tell me the reference.
16613.
Thank you. It's a gold two-tone bluesy. No gold through the buckle, but full set 2000 model in very nice running condition. Full set, did I mention? Get a hold of me, but it's not less than $72.50. If you got
where did you get that from?
Bob's Watches a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's a nice watch, but I'm just not in love with anything pre-ceramic. And let's be honest, 4 subs is too many. Rob, if you've got 4, 5, 6, 10 G-Shocks, it's not a big deal. But if you have too many of the same Rolex, you turn around and you realize, crap, I've got $25,000 or $30,000 tied up in stuff that's just sitting in a safe. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's not healthy.
Well, but if that's your thing, it's no different than if you're collecting Corvettes or anything else. Like they take up less space.
Good point. And they don't leak oil on my driveway, unlike a Chevy. But nonetheless, I need to get rid of these things. Who knows the Panzera brand? Doc, do you know? Doc's gone. Doc's got some weird watches. I don't know. I don't think any of us, I'm not sure that any of us know that brand. William Rizzo, the teal Zelos swordfish is selling for twice retail on eBay. That's interesting. Is it selling or is it just priced at that? Rob, you buy a lot off
Oh,
of
that's a
eBay.
nice picture. Okay. Well, I'm on this one here in the spare bedroom, and I've got a lot bigger screen. That's a nice picture of William Rizzo and his wife, presumably his wife.
Mm. Yeah, no, I just see him as a little itty bitty tiny avatar.
27-inch screen helps.
Looking for and asking are different things. Logan Hall, coughing up the reference number for my watch. Thank you, Logan. 16613. Mine is not gold through the buckle.
Molex.
Oh, gosh.
Molex.
Watch and pray. $2. Clive. 1680. What stopped you from pulling the trigger?
The vintage minefield, quite frankly. Now, normally I've got some people I can turn to that are pretty knowledgeable about older Rolex, but even these guys were saying great caution. And it's also a Craigslist deal. So, getting a really rare vintage watch on Craigslist, no. Even like Uberoki, the guy used to be Uberoki's private watchsmith. Even he said, "Yeah, I know a lot about vintage Rolex, but that's 1680 is a different world because those watches have so much done to them."
Clyde, do you know how many people are watching us right now?
No,
100. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Rob Folis says, where do you fellas sit on Christopher Ward, Zinn, and Monta at the $1,000 to $2,000 range? For those of us without Rolex bankroll, let me throw this one over to Random Rob. Rob, for your reaction first.
Christopher Ward is great, but I think you're going to lose some money on that if you're a flipper. Zinn, they have an amazing lineup, especially if you want to play around with the Zinn 104. You're pretty much not going to lose any money on those. So if you want to try it and then flip it, as long as you don't destroy it, it's going to hold its value. And then the Monta lineup, great watches, but you're going to take a hit on those if you're a flipper as well. I actually have a Monta Ocean King on the way, and I have like 2 or 3 Zinn 104s on the way in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any Christopher Wards in right now.
Now, the Christopher Wards, aren't they really basically like copies, just almost blatant copies of like Rolex and other super ultra popular models?
No, they have their own design.
Okay.
Of all those, I would probably want the Zinn the most, but they make a real toolish kind of dive watch, and that's definitely what I favor. I also like being able to hold on to my value.
Well, not to mention the Sin Navitimer, actually made under license.
Good point. They bought Breitling out of bankruptcy, didn't they, Clyde? They bought the rights to the Navitimer.
Right. Also, Molex. Molex.
Let's find that. Eric, thoughts on Zodiac and Glycine? Oh my God, I love both of those.
Actually, there's like a 90s. One of George, actually one of the local guys. He's been trying to get me like claiming it to be a new original stock 90s Zodiac. It's like it's chronograph, but it's almost like a dress chronograph, like a 2-tone chronograph. A blue dot, and
some of the Zodiacs.
Yes, keep going, Doc.
I was just going to say some of the Zodiacs, even from the 60s and 70s, are pretty cool.
Yeah, the Seawolf. Yeah, I actually had a couple of Bakelite bezel Seawolves from the 60s, but when you think about it, I can't think of any other watch brand that's actually inspired a serial killer.
The Zodiac killer. Some of those newer Zodiacs have sapphire bezels, which I think is cool. And the Glycine Combat Sub, it's such an inexpensive dive watch that still looks like legit of something that you would see coming out of the 60s or 70s. I really like those.
Good, honest watches. And of course, vintage, you want to get a Glycine Airman, like maybe a 24-hour time.
Yeah, those Glycines are on the drop all the time. They've been on the drop so much that they actually released a drop exclusive model called the Soda, which I did bring in and did a video of. They split the bezel in 50-50 red and blue.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the Combat Sub, but they also put out a GMT model. I think that's going to be coming out soon in the Combat Sub chassis, but with a GMT.
Rob, you review a lot of watches sent to you by viewers. So you want to give your email just in the off chance anybody's got a watch that they would like to send to your channel? No? All right. Well,
I have too many. Too many.
That's a nice problem to have. Ian Watch and Pray says, anyone a member of the Rolex Forum? I have been thrown out of much better clubs than the Rolex Forum. Once in a while I read it, but I'm not big on actually joining any of the forums. But I think a lot of people swear by them. For buying and selling, but you have to post like 100 email. You have to post like 100 posts before you're authorized to sell or buy there, something like that. Anyway, no, I'm bigger on Facebook, I think, than that.
I bought my transitional Speedmaster off of the Rolex forums, and I'm a member.
Likewise.
Oh, nice. All right. Well, there's two of us. Rob, I know that you're into modding cars.
Rolex.
I'll get there, Clydesy. Rob, I know you're into modding cars. What is your flavor? You look like a Mopar man. Now, I don't really know what that means. Any of that?
Dodge Chrysler.
Yeah, I don't know. I've tried every car. I don't even know. I can't keep track. I don't. There's none that I really hate. I can see the value. Much like pretty much anything in life, I try to focus on the positives. So every brand is going to have their area of expertise or their performance model, and those are all great across the board.
All those American brands that were so crappy when I was a kid, it was a miracle if you could get a car to go beyond 100,000 miles. And in fact, well into my 20s, any American brand of car, you had to trade it in around 50, 60,000 miles to have any trade-in value left in it. But now they run a lot longer. I have a Ford, which of course we used to call fixed or repaired daily, but it's very reliable and I love it. It's a monster in the snow. The Ford Explorer. I'm loving that vehicle. Clivers, have you ever experienced the Oyster Rivet bracelet?
$2 super chat. So
what does he mean by experienced?
Has he ever worn it, seen it, held it, licked it, sniffed it? That's what I'm guessing. Something along those lines.
Yes. No.
The first time I ever saw one of those, my ex-father-in-law, super nice guy, brought a Rolex GMT that he bought in a bar in Saudi Arabia or Dubai or somewhere crazy. He used to travel a lot. And he bought it in like 72 off of a guy who needed more money for the poker game. He paid like $150 for it in 72. And I thought it was a fake because it had that rivet bracelet on it. And then I did some further research, and it turned out to be a 1969 Rolex GMT, 4-digit serial number, totally legitimate. My ex-father-in-law was wearing that watch every day for decades. It never had service, but it ran fine. And the second I told him what it was worth, he put it in a drawer. And he literally now wears an Invicta Submariner clone, and he hasn't touched that Rolex ever since. Sad, really, but I thought it was a fake. I'd never seen one.
William asked about the Islander, I think. So you guys know Mark at Long Island Watch, right?
Yes.
So he put out his own line of basically SKX, and he's just throwing out a bunch of different colorways, and he's selling them for $300, and they have the hand wind and the hack and all that stuff.
I am mad at Mark from Long Island Watches because it was his review of that mother of pearl dial, that made me buy it. So I'm a little angry at him right now. But what were you just holding up there? You were holding up the SKX. Oh, I know.
It's his blue dial. So he did some regular ones, and I don't know how well that shows up. but he put out this brilliant blue dialed. It's actually like the Detroit Lions color because the
You said
bezel
that in your video,
is like gray.
Uh-huh.
But the blue, if you know what the Squale 1521
It looks a lot
blue,
like that, doesn't it?
yeah, it does. It's a very similar to that blue.
But it's a lot cheaper.
It's $300.
And I bet the quality is just as good as that Squale, if not like better.
I mean, it's pretty good. It's Seiko quality. So
It's $300 is all.
it's $300. Yeah.
What do you expect? William Rizzo wants to know how it looks in person. Well, we've been holding it up.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's a great looking blue.
Logan wants to know what year is my Exploder. It's a 2018 Platinum. And the reason I got the Platinum edition was because, as Archie is so fond of rubbing in my face, I was trading in a Porsche for the Ford Exploder, and so I wanted to be sure that I had every available option. And I traded a Ford. Originally I went from a Porsche Cayenne to a Porsche Macan to the Ford Exploder, and I honestly like the Exploder better than I did that Macan. I still have 365 horsepower. It's still pretty peppy for what it is.
Wow, you had some fun cars.
I have, but when you drill all the way down to it, I'm a dog trainer, and I need to be able to carry dogs and crates, and I also live in the boonies of Chicago, where we really only have 2 seasons. We have summer and we have mud. Those are our 2 seasons, and consequently, I'm going to the local farms and buying bales of straw to put down to kill the mud, so the dogs don't go home all messed up and dirty, and so we're not slipping and sinking into mud. And you just can't do that in a Porsche. You can't carry that junk.
Now, iRock Kicks one has a good question. What are your thoughts on Breitling? Is the brand still held in high regards?
Well, why don't you start, Clydesy? You just bought one. You just paid $8,000 for a Breitling.
A little under $8,000, but yeah, teensy bit. Well, like I said, I've got the 1959 re-edition, and I love that watch. That is by far my favorite one. I think you could probably the care and the work and the effort they put into the watch, especially the dial, is fantastic. Breitling also pre-owned. I think you could find some really good deals on Breitling. I think Breitling and Panerai, I think with some careful hunting, afford some opportunities out there. Getting it new, hell
no. Yeah, no, don't do that. At one time, I had 4 Breitling at one time. I'm down to 1 now. I have the Breitling Galactic Unitime Sleek T World Time, which is a very cool watch. I bought it from Joma Shop. It was a $9,000 watch. Right now. Here's the problem with Breitling. It was a list price of $9,000 plus dollars. Call it $9,500, and I bought it brand new, unworn, box and papers from Joma Shop for $3,600. That's the problem with Breitling.
Well, and also this year at Bezel World 2019, they introduced 76 new references.
Are you kidding? What year? When was this?
2019.
Holy shit! I had no idea they introduced that much stuff. That's too crazy. Rob, what kind of car do you drive?
I drive a work van.
Well, you are a manly man, a man among men. You could carry dog crates, and I often look at the transit van sometimes, and I think that's what I really ought to have.
What about suicide vans?
Valen Graymoon would like to say Valen is a Chicagoan, and he says, don't forget about construction. Well, that's true. We also say another saying in Chicago is we have 2 seasons, summer and construction. Winter and construction, because when it's not frozen, it's all under construction.
Speaking of Chicago, as far as I know, there's going to be 2 watch shows if you're into the Microbrands.
You were just here.
Yeah, and I'll be back twice probably this year. So the Microlex show should come back, but also Worn and Wound Wind Up announced that they're going to do a show in Chicago this year as well.
Well, that sounds like fun. Let me know when you're coming back, and this time we got to get together. That would be nice. John says, I just got the Blue Islander. Also, it looks great on a 2-tone Barton. I don't know what a Barton is. Must be a strap.
Yes.
Sounds like fun.
As far as Breitling goes, I wouldn't forget about the Super Ocean Heritage too. I think it's a
Yeah.
nice model.
You have one of those, don't you, Doc? And in fact, you wear it to cocktail hour when you're trying to meet the ladies.
I wear it as a dress watch. Yes, I do.
And you've had
Nice.
it's your good luck watch at happy hour.
It has done
Yeah,
well.
And I've actually seen that out in the open in real life, and the blue dial especially is a very, very attractive watch, but also pre-owned.
Travis says, like a Rolex, if you're going to own a Porsche, it needs to be a sports model. I just could never justify a sports model because I drive like a grandma, number one, and I haul dogs around. So I'm a truck guy. I haven't owned a car since like the 90s, early 90s. Ever since maybe late 80s, early 90s, I've always had some kind of truck. Chicago Spartan, I've done enough business with my AD to get allocated a Pepsi, or a white dial ceramic Daytona. Thoughts? Also thinking about the rose gold president with the green dial. Crazy? Or go Patek AP? Well, Clyde, why don't you say what you think about that one, and then the rest of us can weigh in too. But I got thoughts.
Chicago, which one do you like better?
No, forget that. Which one is a better deal?
Oh, jeez.
If it was what he liked, he wouldn't be asking us. He would know. But he's asking us because he wants to know about which is the one where he will capitalize the most on his distributor relationship.
Well, then obviously it's the white dial ceramic Daytona.
Exactly.
But if you want to act like a real collector, you can't really go wrong with any of those choices at MSRP. So I'd say the thing is, if you get something, if you don't like it, you're going to get out of it. Probably not under great circumstances.
Biggest premium, hardest to get watches on that white dial.
Like someone else here.
Don't point at me. Look, you can't even point at me. You can't even figure out where to point at me. Oops, neither can I. Look, see. Okay.
But the thing is, if you get something that you love, you're going to hold on to it longer.
Oh, why did I mute Doc? Doc, sorry, you were muted.
No, I muted myself.
I see.
But
where are you, Doc?
I would say that I'm in my car. That's why I thought, well, maybe my car's doing funny things.
The Porsche. Doc has a Porsche.
Well, I'm in the BMW. I'm in the M3 right now.
Okay.
But I would agree with the Daytona, and luckily for me, I think the Daytona is the most gorgeous of all those. And you just look at Victor, how happy he is with his Daytona.
Oh my God, Victor owns like $500,000 in watches, and I think.
And yet he was just ecstatic about his Daytona.
Yeah, which is his $12,000-$13,000 Daytona.
Oh, wait. Actually, okay, Dave Coffey. Dave Coffey is actually here locally, here in my little corner of the flyover states. He was asking me about ADs to look at. Hey, Dave, tell us what you found. Leave another comment.
Well, what he's saying is, Clive, I can't believe that in the flyover states we had a Steel Sports in the case. I bet it was a Milgauss, Clydesy, but we will
might be an Air King. It might, probably Milgauss.
William Rizzo says, I have the original Islander now that they now have the signed crown and the milled clasp. Well, that's what I saw on the Random Rob channel. Rob has dropped out, but Rob, I want to thank you for having joined us. And you should take a look at his channel. He just recently reviewed those watches. Anyone know why the Black Bay 58 is harder to get than the very similar Black Bay? Hype.
Hype watch.
Hype.
Yeah, it's the new. It's like the new hot girl that comes to your high school. It transfers in. Everyone's going to make a play at her when they, because she's fresh meat. Okay.
I'd also add that it's actually quite popular as well.
Well, popularity plus hype equals shortage.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
With Goodyear 58, good year. Dave Coffey says Sea Dweller 43 millimeter black dial. I've got one of those with the red line. I've got one.
I had one. I just didn't like it. It was too thick.
Yeah, you got in and out pretty quick, didn't you, Clydie?
No, if you don't love the watch, if you're not going to wear the watch.
If you don't like a watch, $12,000 is a lot of money to have tied up in something you don't like.
Exactly.
Now, your name was on the card for that one, though, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. William Rizzo says, thanks, Rob. Have a great night, bud. Yeah, I want to thank Rob for having joined us on this channel. That was very nice of him to come on.
Now, Bronco Nutty actually has something. It's not as chunky as the regular Black Bay. So it's also a smaller size. It's more traditional Submariner size. And Oh, I would love to get my hands on one, at least check it out, but no, it's whitelisted because everyone wants it.
John Sellers says everything Porsche makes is a sports model, which is kind of true. I mean, listen, I had their SUV. In fact, the Cayenne that I had was a hybrid Cayenne, and it went 0 to 60 in like 5 seconds or under. So, and it's a big, heavy car, so it's pretty amazing. They don't make anything that isn't fun to drive. That's been my experience.
And their electric
Hey,
is supposed to be a lot of fun.
Now, hey, Dave, do me a favor. Which one did they have those at? Was that one of the BC Clarks, or is that Brockhouse down in Norman? Just out of curiosity.
Well, let us know, Dave Coffey. In the meantime, iRockKicks1 says, I got a sub that popped up at an AD. I'm picking it up tomorrow. Thanks to Mark. Well, you're welcome. This is Rocco. So the guy that we were talking to before, Ramon was his name, is different than Rocco. That means I've hooked up 2 guys now with Rolex Steel Sports from James & Sons. Again, guys, if you call James & Sons in Orland Park, Chicago, or Schererville, Illinois, feel free to use my name, but understand there's certainly no guarantee. The only thing I'm going to guarantee is they're going to be nice to you. That's it. But
it is Brockhouse. I knew it was going to be. Brockhouse is like, it's in Norman. It's a smaller town. It's not visited as much. So I kind of figured it would be that one.
Gilbert Rios just bought a Casio MTG from Random Rob. It's about the most accurate timepiece anyone can buy. I am really loving. I don't have any of them handy here right now, but I'm up to 4 different G-Shock watches. 3 of them are Bluetooth, so they're checking in with the with the servers for accuracy a few times a day, and talk about dead bang on and easy to use. I'm starting to love G-Shocks. One of my favorite watches lately is a G-Shock. Super Ocean Heritage is nice, but I like the 46 because I'm tacky. Doc, you're on mute, but I believe Doc has the 46 also because he's tacky.
I've got
too,
a
right,
46. Doc? I've got a tacky 46 chronograph. It's a gorgeous looking watch, but it's just too huge for me.
Is that an Avitimer?
No. Oh, it's a Super Chrono, and it's a reverse Panda because it's a limited one, so it's a reverse Panda. So it looks really nice, but it's 46, and I didn't know that when I bought it.
Now you guys know that I had a date with Han Danes, right? He bought me a bottle of wine, wined and dined me. We went on a date, and during that date, we went to do Don's favorite, well, mine too, to be honest, hobby, which is trying on watches that we have no real intention of buying. And I did at an AD of Don's choice. They kind of cringed when they saw him walking in the door. Because they were like, "Oh Christ, here he comes again."
They knew what was coming.
Yeah, that he was going to try on every watch and put them all back, smudged. But I did try on that 46 millimeter Super Ocean, and it was enormous. I felt like I was wearing. I have a beautiful flat wrist bone, 7.25-inch wrist. This is a manly wrist, and yet I felt like I was. I know it was huge. I felt like I was wearing a coffee cup saucer on my wrist. It was a bit much. A bit much for me.
I feel like I should start rapping every time I wear it. I figure like I should start rapping right now.
Oh, Doc, go ahead. Let's hear your best rap. Give it your best shot. I'm calling your bluff right now. Let's hear your rap.
I said I feel like I should be rapping. I'm not a rapper at all.
I'm telling you straight up, you have
don't rap. You know that.
You have no rhythm. You're the whitest white man I know. You have no rhythm. It's true.
Of course.
Mr. MR2 says, glad we aren't talking about shoes on this channel, specifically women's shoes. None of us here are
that already.
Yeah, nobody hears that. Clyde, Doc, either one of you want to show me your toes?
No.
Yeah, I was pretty sure you wouldn't.
No. No.
I was pretty sure. iRock says, great people. He is referring, of course, to my buddies over at James & Sons. Brian is the guy you would want to talk to over there at the Orland Park location anyway. And I want you people to know, I always talk about my buying experience. I have bought from CRM Jewelers. Their channel is Eric. Watch Your Style with Eric. Good channel and good people to deal with. I bought a Yachtmaster from them. Anybody that I ever bought a watch from, I bought one from Long Island Watches once. Anybody that I've ever bought from, I talk about my buying experience because I want you people to know how it goes. Boondoggle, I asked on the Minotaur stream yesterday, but you didn't get a word in. Well, you probably didn't super chat. See, on that channel, Archie doesn't do shit for free. Here we do. Thoughts on vintage linen dial date just 36 as the first Rolex? Oh, I remember you did super chat.
I remember that.
I
We
actually
talked about it.
I actually prefer the later Stalin dial to the linen dial.
Well, all Archie said was stay away from that old shit because it's old. I disagree.
Well, he also said it was a little small.
It is a little small, but we don't really know what Boondoggle wrist size is. Boondoggle,
or what his preferences are. I mean, and also what color is it? I've had them before. They're nice.
Clyde, they're not preferences. We're born this way.
Preferences can also change though as well. You used to love balls a lot more than you do now.
Yes, yeah. Well, this is completely genetic, Clyde. I'm not in control of anything.
That's
Boondoggle,
appetite, by the way.
well, tell us how big your wrist size is, Boondoggle, and what else you have in the collection. If you're 6.5 or over, it's gonna wear kind of small. If you're 6.5 or under, okay, go for it.
Now, here's what I'm wondering though. I'm wondering, Boondoggle, did you kind of pick that up from Leo and Ferris, from Tristan and Hannah at Leo and Ferris? Because that sounds like something Tristan would talk about.
Eric Satterthwaite wants to know if that was racist, Doc, and the answer is you'll have to ask
Everything
Jen Tingler.
is racist.
You'll have to
Everything
ask
is racist.
David SW. David Booser says, Mark, did you buy anything from Del Rey Watch Supply? I have not, although I had some confabulation with Federico about a watch or two about selling, but we didn't put a deal together. But I like Fed, and I admire what he's doing, and I think anytime you put your ass on the line to start a business and really make it work, I also own my own business, and I know a lot goes into it. So actually, all three of us on tonight are entrepreneurial. Clyde, you have your own practice. Doc does part-time employed at Costco, but nonetheless has private practice in the parking lot.
Rolex.
Where?
Watch and Pray, $5.
Where? Oh, there it is. Clyde, you're watching YouTube. Watch and Pray, $5. Coincidental to your story, I've seen the 1680 Red Sub Mark IV feet first with the rivet bracelet circa 1973. Wondering if rivet was optional at that time. Do any of us know? I can't imagine it was optional. In fact, 73 seems late for a rivet, doesn't it?
I think so,
I was going to say, I think they probably popped a rivet on there from, not from the original. It's a little Franken, baby, a little Franken.
That sounds Franken to me, because I think they were done with the rivets by 69. But you know what? You can't fully quote me on that.
Well, the problem is that sometimes they might have had like
leftovers,
and then they applied them, and you got to do a lot of research to find out stuff like that.
With any watch in that category, that's going to be an expensive watch. I would think that's got to be minimum $25,000-$30,000. You have to be very, very careful, and you want to work with an expert who knows everything about redials, bracelets, Frankenhands, service. That watch has got to be looked at inside to make sure it's not filled with incorrect parts, because all of that will dramatically affect value. There was a story about a guy who bought a red line, a red line sub, and then took it in the water and flooded the case, months after he bought it. Yes, it's a sub, but it's like a 40-year-old sub. You should not put vintage in water.
You got to pressure test it.
I wouldn't even. Yeah, you could pressure test a vintage sub, but I wouldn't take it in the water anyway.
No, not one of those.
Yankee Doodle, I've been falling in love with the Tudor Monte Carlo, beautiful blue and orange colors with a Salida movement. You've been watching the Pontiff too long. I would stay away from a Salida movement over $1,000. Oh my God, this is just too much money. Boondoggle.
I think you're safe though with that one. I
guess if you buy it used.
Yes.
Boondoggle doesn't have one yet. Looking for the future. 6 3/4 inch. First Omega in space and Black Bay 58. Well, I think it's going to wear a little small on a 6 3/4 inch, but at least you're not 7. So Boondoggle, if you're a youngster and you want a Rolex, fine. If not, I don't know. Maybe save up for a pre-ceramic sub and move up to the 40-millimeter case. That might be better for you. I think we did that one. John Sellers. By the way, guys, we're going to wrap this up momentarily. I don't want to overstay my welcome on the internet, and I don't want to use up any more Clyde resource or Doc. And I know Clyde's got to get into the bathtub any minute because tomorrow is court.
It's Martin Luther King Day.
It's not a holiday tomorrow.
No. I just said it's Martin
you're
Luther
off
King
tomorrow.
Day.
Great. We'll do another 2 hours. John
No,
Sellers.
I'm going to the orifice, not to court.
I have a ball engineer, deep breath, slide chronograph. That's 47.6 millimeters, and I love it. I'm a big fella, so 42 and up for me. Well, that is a big boy. I'm sure it glows nicely.
Does Ball have a chronograph? Does Ball have a chronograph called a fireman? Something like that?
Yes, they do. It's not a chronograph. It's a three-hander, I believe. John Coin and Jewelry asks Mark Goldberg, would you ever engrave a case back on a Rolex? If so, and when? Well, I haven't. But, like if your wife or your girlfriend or, somebody in your life, your job, if they give you a Rolex and it's already engraved, that's fine. If I was given one, look, here's what it would depend on. If it was such a sentimental watch that there was no way I was ever going to sell it, then yeah, go ahead, you can engrave it. If it's just an acquisition because you love it and you want to wear it, don't engrave it because 10 years from now you might want your money out of it. But if it was, to commemorate the birth of your first daughter or something like that, you can engrave it. And if you ever change your mind, those things can be laser filled and buffed clean. It's not as big a deal to remove an engraving as you might think. But the answer to your question is I myself have not, but if it's super sentimental, I don't think there's a problem with it.
I figured if you got your first grandchild and you got yourself something engraved for that, you'd keep it forever, right?
Yeah, I might do that. Sure. Yankee Doodle, is there medication that can be prescribed for this disease? Clearly he means watch disease. I've been falling in love with a different watch every day. Fuck me dead. The answer is you've become a YouTube holic. The first step towards the cure is admitting that you have a problem. There is a 12-step program available for this, and you gotta quit YouTube cold turkey. And Yankee Doodle, I know what you mean because every time I watch a bunch of different watch channels, I immediately fall in love with the damn watch. Yeah, that is a
And my
problem.
understanding is it's worse than cigarettes. For cigarettes, it takes 10 times on average to quit, 10 tries. So I think watches are worse than that.
They say cigarettes are harder to quit than heroin, and I believe it because I never quit heroin.
I'm glad you still kick. Well, wait.
I never did heroin. Cigarettes were a motherfucker.
There was someone coming in for treatment that he was a heroin addict, alcoholic. He got rid of the alcohol and the heroin, but couldn't get rid of the cigarettes.
Yeah. Really, it's a very tough quit. I took Chantix and Chantix is a very, very tough drug to take because it has a lot of psychological side effects. And in fact, they won't it's against FAA regulations for a working pilot to take Chantix because they are afraid that pilot will drive the plane right into a wall, into the ocean.
And feel good about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's okay.
I love the engravings on Paul Newman. I wouldn't do that.
Oh,
young XLNC. Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that. Thoughts on a Zinn watch? We talked about this earlier. Is it worth it if you get a model with their proprietary tech? The answer is yeah, especially if you can get them used. They tend to hold their value. But I would stick with their dive watches and their tegmented watches and stuff that is popular within their line. They tend to hold value, as Random Rob was kind enough to point out. Hi. Look who I got here. Hello there. How are you?
At first, I thought that was Jupiter.
No, Jupiter's upstairs sleeping. That was Friday.
Doc, Jupiter is a cat.
True.
That was a dog.
Oh,
what the hell did they teach? What the hell did? Never mind. If you,
John Galt says it's so. John Galt says it's so hard. Doc, as a chiropractor, could you define priapism for us, please?
Well, I know that there's a tendency to say that that's related to a bone and chiropractor and all that, but it's really not.
I see. Well, look, guys, Doc doesn't really want to admit that he knows this, but priapism is a painful erection lasting 4 or more hours. And I've always told my partner, if I get a painful erection lasting 4 or more hours, it won't be painful for me.
I know about it, but not personally. I was in the emergency room for something completely different for myself, and
Is
then there
that
was
right?
somebody who came in, and there was somebody who came in with that.
What do they do? You know
boy,
what?
oh
First of
boy.
all, yeah. Well, you know what they do, right, Doc? You know how they solve that problem.
They got to cut it open.
They plunge a needle into the. They plunge a needle into the vein, and they draw the blood supply right out of the penile tissue.
Well, this one, it wasn't working. It wasn't working in the emergency room, and they were taking this guy to the operating room.
Oh,
and
dear.
Trust me, he was getting the attention of everybody there. It's like
All the nurses? You mean the nurses?
Day.
Did he take too much vitamin? Did he take too much vitamin V? Is that what happened?
Well, I overheard, and I don't know how accurate this is, but what I overheard was that this person did an injection with Viagra and injected it into the penis.
Ooh. Like, why would you want to stick a needle in? Yeah. Well, there's a lot. Look, guys, we got into the weeds here, people. We've gotten into the weeds. I don't know quite how we got here, but I think this is.
Let's get out.
I think this is a sign that it might be time for us to sign off. I want to thank each and every one of you for having spent the last hour and 26 minutes with us. Particularly, I'd like to thank Random Rob, who had to bail, but mostly I would like to thank Clyde and Doc BBW for having joined us.
I'll go nutty. Show him a picture of Eleanor Roosevelt.
Yeah, that'd take the stuffing right out of it.
Actually, Uberbitch, the mother of my children, did bear a passing resemblance to Eleanor Roosevelt.
Poor Eleanor. I mean, she's gone something like 70 years now. Don't you think we should move on to a modern day, like Hillary or, Nancy Pelosi? Shouldn't we just move it right along?
I brought up Hillary, and then AC3 says, "Oh, I loved Hillary. I thought she was gorgeous."
Guys, I'm going to shoot off. I want to thank you once again for having spent all this time with me. You will never know how much myself and my cohorts appreciate your attention. We have just wasted something on the order of 300 man hours being here all together. And you know what? There's nobody I would rather waste time with than you people right here. Thanks. Let's do it again. Yes.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe. Tell your friends and your mother.